Hello and welcome back to another episode of Peeking into Success podcast. We are on the big 30 today, 30, and today we've got on a man that does everything for the hip hop scene as well as community and trying to bring his knowledge and experience in everything music wise as well as dance to the people of Derby and the community of Derby. As well as that, he has written and produced a show called Four Walls, which is on at Derby Theatre. So if you're free at the weekend, the 7th to the 9th of September, go and visit that at Derby Theatre. I think you'll greatly appreciate it. So today we've got on Rukus.
Planet Earth, the devil we know, it's been around for billions of years. And from each of its four corners, everything has a place called home, no matter where it roams. The mind for our thoughts, and the breath living within flesh and bone. This human plight is captured by journeying through the lives of four complete strangers, desperately hoping to escape the four walls that seem to be closing in. A Caribbean woman is surprised to be caught up in a scandal in her old age. A teenager suffers sleepless nights unwittingly caught up, and at the same time his family fights for the right to remain. Then there's what's-her-face, the young nomad out of place, so plodding the lonely road, and not to forget Femi, the inner city dreamer, ambitious and aspirational, a believer. But as their journeys go on, something just seems wrong. Each stranger experiencing a deafening chorus of fear that crescendos and bursts into a universe, singing one song, which is simply entitled, Find Where You Belong.
Hi Rukus, how are we today?
I'm not too bad. Yes. Great day. It's hot. Great morning.
And you've been on your feet with all the production week for Four Walls, haven't you?
Yeah, we're in tech week at the moment, so getting close to the time, getting close to the actual day.
There we go. So looking forward to it, and of course you've got your press night on Friday coming up as well. So that'll be good to get a lot of people down, get a lot of feedback for your work.
Yeah. That's it.
If people don't know you and know what you do for Derby in a whole, how would you sum yourself up in a nutshell?
Well, I've been. I'm originally from Birmingham. I moved to Derby years ago. That's what I would like to say. But I'm known as a recording artist. I'm a DJ. I'm a producer. I'm also a playwright. I add that to the title now. And I've toured both nationally and internationally. As a solo artist, as Rukus, and also with my Trinity band, and that brand of Trinity, which is a youth group and an arts group, where you have the Trinity Warriors, you have the Trinity Music, and so we're synonymous with music, arts, and anything to do with that, dance, etc., DJs and all that. So, and then also I started a business with my business partner, Baby J, called Baby People, which has been running for over 20 years. So we work in the community, we're an arts company, an NPO. And yeah, we work with young people that are, not in mainstream schooling, and do various projects and stuff. So I'm very much a part of the community in terms of the arts world and doing that. And I've done loads of speaking in terms of for the arts and just known within that world, if that makes sense.
No, nice. I think that's a nice way to sum it up. Of course, you kind of touched on loads of bases there in literally a minute. So kind of rewind it to the beginning. Like how did Rukus start?
Well, my mum and dad are musicians, and so I was brought up in a musical house, and I've always made music and wanted to do music from a young age. I performed from early. I used to perform with my parents actually when I was very young, and so I've always been around music and that kind of world. And then just started to create music from like 10, 11 years old. Used to start writing little poems and little raps, and then started to record them. I had a breakout hit in 2005 that showed my age, and that really what set the path of who Rukus being known within the hip hop world and getting and making a name for myself in that respect.
Nice. And then, of course, from there, you kind of tried to bring your knowledge and your experience into Baby People and creating that in Derby. So kind of, you've touched on it, but how can people kind of join Baby People, and what is kind of your aim of Baby People as well? So what's kind of the slogan or the motto of it?
Well, the slogan, the motto for Baby People is each one teach one, which is still again about community. So it's like we can all teach each other. I think, and just to get into a little bit of what Baby People is, it's a music and arts development organisation, and it was me and my producer, the person that produced my breakout single, which was Baby Jade, and we decided, like, we met a teacher called John, who was working at Village School, which was an old school in Derby. I don't think it's about anymore, which was a Prue unit. And he was more or less like, a lot of the kids know you because they're seeing us on MTV, on the TVs, on your channel U's, etc. And it would be really good for you to do something with these young people just to get them engaged. So we designed a 10-week course, and that's how it started. We'd done a 10-week course, me and Baby J, and we went into the schools, and it went really well. And the rest is history. There's a lot of story, but the rest is history. And now we have traveled many countries. We do stuff in Europe. We've gone all over the UK to do various projects. And the main thing is about music and engagement. The arts, engaging people and young people with arts, with music, with dance, with anything to do with what they considered urban arts or whatever. Baby People, we consider a hip-hop school because we use all the elements of hip-hop to teach. So we have graph classes or, aerosol art, or whatever you want to call it. We do dance, we do music. So we do all the elements that are considered and use that to kind of teach and encourage and empower young people, and not just young people, because we work with older people as well. We work with older people as well as just people that are within the community that need help. And so we do some courses where we mentor young up-and-coming artists or artists that just need that chance, the use of the studio, etc. So our spaces, there's always something happening. So if you keep in contact or look on our socials, there'll always be like projects that we always send in, asking for people to be a part of and join. And also we run a studio, so people can come and use the studios for a fee. Sometimes we do free studio sessions. There's loads of things that we try and do to engage and just help the people that are serious about what they're doing as well, or need that little bit of a push. But I believe that art and music is empowering, and it's an empowering tool. And for young people, it's a form of expression. And for me, it's a form of expression.
Perfect. So it's like kind of what you've learned through your years, you're kind of passing on and kind of giving your advice and your experiences to the community. Does it matter on an age range for people?
No. I have people that contact me all the time, various age groups, older than me even, just for, even if it's just an advice. It might be something about getting into the industry. It might be something just simple as like, I need to get some CDs pressed or burnt or whatever it is. And my door's always open. So it is about passing on and just showing people that there's different ways to get to where you want to get to. Because a lot of people, there's a lot of talent in Derby. There's a lot of talent in the Midlands, full stop. And then it's like, how do we break through into your Londons and on a national scale, or even just on a regional scale? And sometimes it just takes somebody, one, believing in you and understanding that you have got something, and having that time to have a conversation with you about what you're doing. And then secondly, the know-how. Do you know what I mean?
100%. The know-how's a big thing with people, I feel like, in Derby in the music industry, is that a lot of people can push out single after single or can produce a piece of music amazingly, but they don't have the know-how of how to kind of promote themselves, how to market themselves well. That's the downfall of musicians, I feel, in Derby at the moment.
100%. And we do. I run a thing called a talent development program. It's called Music Works, and every year we pick about 4 to 8 artists that we believe have the potential to get into the industry. And it is, I get in speakers, so I get people to speak about marketing. I get people that come in and speak about how to the industry itself and how that works. So there's various, and it's not just open to the people that are on, who have been picked for this program. It's open to any artist. So we'll do Zoom or wherever it is, and because I think it's important. Like it's like you can work hard, but you can also work smartly. And I think it's a balance of both working hard but also working smartly. And once you got, and that comes with knowledge. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
100%. And I mean, just having this conversation with you just shows that you know what you're on about.
I sometimes don't, to be honest with you. But if I don't know, I will know someone I can go to, or I can ask, because I have mentors myself or people that I can go to, because I don't claim to know everything, and this is specifically with the industry, it's ever revolving. It's always changing. So what you could do last year or 2 years ago isn't what you're doing now. So things change consistently. So it's about keeping abreast of everything. And you're a human being, so there's not everything that you can keep on top of. So I don't claim to know everything, but I definitely know enough to point in the right direction if I don't as well. So
no, 100%. And I think that with the platform of Baby People, you built up that kind of foundation and that base to kind of use other people's positives and strengths to benefit your company and benefit the people of Derby, which is an amazing thing to do.
Thank you.
What Derby needs and what Derby's showing is that it's one of the only places, I think, in the UK that isn't shutting down musical venues, and it's opening more, and there's things like Dubrek and stuff that are kind of popping out the woodwork now.
Dubrek is like a really nice venue, and I've been there a couple of times for various things, and it's really good. It's a really good little setup, and obviously they have the new setup as well, and they have lots of little things in there. I think Derby's always buzzing. Derby's buzzing. There's new artists coming up all the time, and I think even in the various genres as well. There's not just one genre. There's like loads going on. For a small place, or what's considered a small place, there's a lot here, and that's what really surprised me, and what made me, it inspired me to want to help and try and help people break out of just being a Derby artist. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, a lot of people in Derby are classed as Derby artists, unfortunately. Yeah. And I think with that label, it's hard to try and push the boundaries and get further than like Nottingham or somewhere like that. Yeah. But I've seen a few kind of breaking through, so I feel like it's getting there. And of course with Derby Can and stuff like that, people are kind of being seen more. It's just a slow process, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a slow process, but nothing can go before its time. I think everything has to evolve, and I think in terms of the infrastructure of what's here has to evolve, and once it evolves, then that's when you're going to get, and it's about thing. But you've had major people, like you had your Iddies, I forgot the other person's name, but he's gone on to do. He's a young lad that's done amazing things, you know what I mean, and got signed, and there's other people that's been signed. So I think it's happening, and I think like there will be a lot more. And again, that's inspiring other people to say, oh, look, it can be done. Because once it's touchable, it's tangible.
Yeah. 100%.
If it's close to you, do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, that person's done that, but I don't know that person. But if you're like aware of somebody, or they're from the same place that you are, then it becomes a real thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, that shows with you, I guess, from being around Derby for so long, that people can see you and see what you've achieved, and hopefully try and replicate it, or try and pursue that as well.
I think it's about replicate. It's about them understanding that, being inspired to say like it's doable.
Yeah, things
are doable, but what does it take? You know what I mean? And I think it's important to see what can be achieved, because it doesn't matter what you tell somebody. Yo, you can do this. And I always say, one of the things I say to people or young artists I'm working with is like you're always one hit away from breaking out.
Yeah.
Because all it takes is one track for you to blow. You know what I mean? And that's what it is, or to go viral or whatever it is nowadays. Do you know what I mean? So if you continue to work, even if you might do 50 tracks, but your 51st track goes, and that's it.
So it's just persistence at the end of the day.
Consistency and persistence, the two.
Nice. We focus kind of on you and what you do and your kind of values and what you bring to Derby. What can you see from your kind of long career as your biggest achievement or your career high?
Let me think. So, career high, which I would say my biggest achievement is I had an opportunity to go on UK tour with Mark Ronson. And that was after featuring on the Mark Ronson and Amy Winehouse Valerie remix. So the tune called Valerie, there was a remix that Baby J produced, and he basically did a version where myself, Preacher, Alex Blood, and Malik, which is a rapper from Birmingham, we went on. Basically, he said, "Come and do 8 bars on this."
Yeah.
And at the time, it was whatever, and it was just okay. I'll just do 8 bars on it. And they didn't ask Baby J to put rappers on it. They just wanted him to remix the beat and just put it back out. So he did that on his own back. Again, this is another way of thinking of like sometimes you're told to do something, but you try something and something else can come off from it. So he's done the remix, put us on it, and then sent them both. And they really loved the one with the rappers on. So that ended up being the B-side of the Valerie actual single. So, and then we did a video, it sold, I mean, I've got a plaque on my wall because of that. And it's over, like, on the video's done over, like, probably 5.5, 6 million views. Jeez. So I think in terms of career high and biggest achievement, that would be because as an unsigned artist, touring with Mark Ronson, you get to see a different world. So I'm coming on for just 8 bars just to do my track and that literally, but you're around, you know, all of these amazing artists, and it's a different world from our world. Does that make sense? Because it's very commercial pop world. So you're doing all these arenas. We did Wireless Festival, you know, all these things, and that opportunity every night going to Scotland, you're going here, you're going there, like that I would say that was a great experience and a good one for at that time. It wasn't like now, you know, your top 10 is filled with rappers, you know. It's not unconventional for a rapper to be number one for weeks, like, you know what I'm saying, like Essential Season. At the time when we did that, that wasn't the thing.
It was all boy bands, girl bands.
Yeah. You wasn't
X Factor stuff like that then.
100%. There wasn't that there was, as I said, things have to evolve, but that infrastructure wasn't there. You wouldn't see no rap tracks or hip hop or that kind of music within the top 20 in the UK at that time.
And another thing, of course, you touched on Baby J and how he made a remix with the rappers on, and that's something that's so common now with things like Tion Wayne doing Bulletproof and stuff like that. Again, like people do that now, whereas that just shows that you've broken the mould and done something. Back then, would you see anyone making a remix with rappers?
Nah, it wasn't a thing. It definitely was not a thing, and definitely. So I even respect Mark Ronson for allowing that to happen. But he was he's a maverick person anyway. That's how he thinks. He was one of them kind of artists or people that would think outside the box. So I think he you know what I mean, and he embraced us as well. He loved it. He was the one that made us come and said, come on. Like, he started us going, like, can you come and do the Birmingham one? Because I'm in Birmingham, you might as well come because you're from here. And then from there, we're a year and a half later, we're more or less going everywhere that he was going on the tour, do you know what I mean? So I think that was again, as I said, and we was there with like Wiley. Wiley came out at that time. Wiley had Rolex, you know, because everybody was at that time, in order to break into the mainstream, you had to do mainstream music. So remember, people went on this whole house stuff and started, you know, your Skeptas and that started to do pretty much like house things that kind of went away from grime, if does that make sense? And that Rolex, what would you do? Which gained number one, but it wasn't a grime track. It wasn't what they kind of started off. So yeah, it was good for us to be able to keep our what we was and what we do and be able to be in that world.
Nice, yeah. No, I agree. And I mean, that is a massive achievement, being able to go anywhere and just perform a song and people probably singing it back to you because, of course,
crazy.
Valerie is a really well-known song. Yeah. And that version is as well. So, I mean, from the career high, is there a different moment that you see as kind of defining your career, or is it the same?
Well, I think what I would say was a defining moment for me is my first release, my first official release, which was Let It Go. And that's produced by Baby J, who's my business partner. And that set the pace because it achieved nationwide success, and it's still now critical acclaim. It's like a classic. And for me at that time, I had two artists that were well known jump on the track, and I was a newbie. So I had a person called Klashnikov, who at the time was like a legend in the UK music scene, and then Ty, rest in peace, who again was a legend. These were people that were literally signed at the time when rappers weren't signed, if that makes sense. So they were on the track with me, and them being on the track with me gave it weight. But that basically took the hip hop scene by storm. Yogi was on it as well, and Yogi's he was a Derby legend, so he was like that guy that was doing bits and pieces before I even came on. And so they almost gave me their blessings by jumping on the track, but it went off. Like the radios loved it. It was A-listed on Radio 1, A-listed on Capitol, all of these things. This is my first track, so I think that was a career-defining moment. I would not be here doing anything that I'm doing, even with the Valerie stuff and whatever, if it wasn't for that moment and that track. So
yeah, that holds a lot of weight then, doesn't it? We wouldn't even be in this room talking if that track never came out.
I'll just be, Rukus from round the way that does bits and pieces. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't think I would be in this position if it wasn't for that track.
Nice. And do you still kind of go back to that? So do you still kind of, when you've got people in Baby People, for example, do you still play that track so they can understand where you've come from in your journey?
To be honest with you, I don't, because if they ask, sometimes I don't play any music at all. So they, and as I said, like, there's people that come, like, they're young, so they have no clue. Right, I'm Rukus, but they don't know Rukus from that world. They just know Rukus as he does this and he's known in that. There's a respect level for what I do in that world, in terms of what I do in the community, whatever. Nice. But not because it's your track, because they probably was just born when the track came out. Do you know what I mean? So, but I do sometimes have to let them know. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Not in an egotistical way, but like, okay, we're making music, but this is the reason. The reason why you're with me is because this is what I do. So then it's good for them to see, like, okay, the person that's teaching you or advising you is somebody that does it too. And so sometimes people, but yeah, it's one of them ones where it's a weird one, because sometimes it's about, you kind of find it like a bit, I won't say cheesy, but it's a bit awkward, like, yo, let me play you my tracks. And like, you know what I'm saying to you? It's like, you know what I mean? Let me play you my thing. You know what I mean? You can imagine someone in the corner, uncle in the corner going, yeah, I used to do this years ago. Listen, check this out. Like, so I kind of like, I don't 100% like, I'm not saying I don't do it, but it's not something that I just do. Like, here, let me play you some of my music.
No, that's fair enough. And I mean, that's humbling, isn't it? Because you don't have to use it as a thing. People know you and respect you for what you do in Derby anyway, for different reasons. So
yeah. So I think, again, it's age range. I said certain age ranges, they will know, and it's about that. And so it's like, because I'm dealing with different age ranges, it's like the youngsters, for them it's like, yeah, you can rap, you can spit, but I've not heard none of your music. And then I go, okay, here's some. But yeah, I hear you. And to be honest with you, it is about that, because I think when you're working with young people, sometimes it is about, for me, it's about humbling, and it's not about, we all have egos, because that's the whole thing about being an artist, is a part of it is an ego, having an ego, but it's how you keep that in check, you know what I'm trying to say to you?
100%.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
You gotta have a bit of an ego, if that makes sense, and every artist has a bit of an ego, but also secondly, they also have, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Insecurity. Because as an artist, you're insecure. Like, there is a lot of insecurity that comes with being an artist, because you want people to like what you do.
That's very true.
And there's a want and a need for that. And then it's finding that balance of like, I'm okay. Even if you don't like this, I'm good with it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there is a level of, wanting people to like your stuff and dig what you do.
And I mean, from all of that you've done now, kind of, you kind of used all of the skills that you picked up along the way, and you've kind of taken a complete kind of right turn, shall we say, into a complete different area. So, of course, what you're doing now and this week, where has that kind of spawned from, and what are you kind of doing now? Is it completely different to everything that you've done before now?
It isn't, you know. That's the thing.
It?
It's not completely different. It's just different paths. Because creativity for me is just creativity. I've always wrote. I wrote a play years ago for Derby Playhouse, before it was Derby Theatre.
Okay.
And we did it in the studio. It was a hip-hop theatre play, which was all written in rap, called The Seven Sins, which was, again, part of the community. I did that a while ago. So I've always dabbled. I got commissioned to do a one-man show, which I wrote, which was a theatre piece, with Apples and Snakes, which are based in London, a poetry company. So I've always done bits and pieces. I just never had the right time or the space or the support to kind of let me go in fully. And then obviously Derby and Derby Theatre gave me the opportunity through going under training, and how everything happened was I pitched an idea. I didn't get the pitch, sorry. And then, but they liked the idea and says, look, we're going to help to get this up and developed. And I really appreciate that. And that gave me the space and energy for me to be able to expand on that side of myself, because I've always written or wanted to think. So it sounds, as I said, it's just something that people didn't know. Unless you know me, if that makes sense, because I'm just known for that. And obviously the way that the music went, it just took me on that path fully, if that makes sense. So it was harder for me but yeah, it's like, I feel it was one of the same, because for me, creativity is creativity, no matter what you're doing. Words are words, whether you're writing them on a beat, whether you're writing them for people to say, you know, to me, it's all one.
Nice. And I mean, we'll move on to Four Walls now. So of course, this is the kind of second coming and the second kind of run of Four Walls. So how would you explain, firstly, what Four Walls is and what you have brought to Four Walls to bring it to life?
Okay. Well, I think for me, Four Walls is, it's about community. That's the main thing I would say, 100%. It's about community. It's about giving voice to marginalized people. Does that mean like there's and authentic voices as well? Like I work within the communities. I there's little nuances of things, whether it's culturally, whether it's age, you know what I mean? That and as you know, within these inner cities, they're all melting pots. They're all melting pots of various little things, and you learn. So like I understood from early just different cultures. I understood Diwali, I understood Eid, I understood because of the community that I was in, and I could respect it. But then I understood the food, that's what I'm trying to say to you, and I think it's a lovely thing. Like these inner cities get tarred with a bad brush sometimes, but there's beauty within that, because you learn a lot. Do you know what I mean? 100%. So this story is about four people, well, not four people in particular, but it's about these people that live in a block of flats, and they all live, and it's how their lives are different, but something happens that connects them all, or they kind of affect each of us futures. And I'm trying to tell you without actually giving away the story. Like,
so people actually come into it. Exactly. If you told the main plot of the story, people look and be like, oh, I know now. Intrigued,
but for me, I am not a traditional theatre goer. Does that make sense? But I have been to theatre, and I love theatre. And I know that a lot of the communities that I'm from, they don't really come into theatres. Two reasons: whether it's like there's nothing that gravitates towards them in terms of what's on the stage, and just they don't feel it's a place for them. You know what I mean? Like they don't fit in that space. So I wanted to create something that was more of an event. Like even so in this, we got music, we got rap, we got dance, we got spoken word, we got projection. We got all of these things that all encompass into one. So it's like multimedia. It's mad. It's crazy. Like, but then you got this story. And again, it's for me. It's about getting a non-traditional audience into theatre as well. Just looking. That's again why the connection of the community cast. Because I feel like if I'm going to tell a story about the community needs to be in it. Yeah. And again, that's authenticity. Because a lot of the times we try and tell these stories. It's like me saying, I know what the youngsters want, but I'm not young anymore. You know what I mean? But I can assume, and it's like, no, I need to actually have a conversation. So it was very important for me to get young not just young people, because it's not just young people in the community cast, it's various ages, and the play isn't just about young people, it's about various age group, various cultures, it's not just one thing. So yeah, cut a long story short, for me it's important to tell our stories. Nice. But try and tell our stories in an authentic way. I can get upset and go, I never see nothing about me, or I don't connect with this or whatever, or where it's there. But what I have to do is I can either complain about it or I can make something that does.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's really what this was about for me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I mean, with you writing it and kind of seeing the whole journey of it, and of course you've produced it as well, haven't you?
Well, now I wouldn't say I produced it, I
okay.
just wrote it, do you know what I mean?
Okay.
I've obviously had a big part of, like, in terms of the music and what happens in there, because my brother's done the music. I've written all the songs, I've written all the tracks in there as well, so it's not just about the actual, do you know what I mean, the piece itself and the actual, the story. But it's very interesting. I've tried to do something different and very... You have to follow the story. It's not going to be something that you're going to come in. But the thing for me is about posing questions. I don't want to answer nothing, but I do want to pose some hard questions as well. Like, I want you to think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when you finish, you go, I didn't really see that from that point of view. And actually, how do we... So I think it's important art should always question people. Art should always allow you to learn something or trigger something. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. And I mean, that's the thing. A lot of people now go and watch a film or go and watch something and they don't want to be tested. They want something easy watching so they can just look at it, absorb it, and then just be like, yeah, that was all right, and then go home. There's not that kind of, I'm going home in the car with my mates and I'm like, oh, well, what did that mean? Or what did that mean?
Yeah.
Or why did they ask that? Or why did they do that?
Yeah.
Like, that's what you want. You want to go home asking questions to make conversation so more people will be like, well, let me come and watch this so I understand and get my interpretation.
100%. And this is that will definitely happen with this piece. Like, you will definitely leave and go home and go, ooh, and have a conversation. Or it will be like, there'll be discussions. And not in a mad way, but I think it's important. That's what I said. So yeah, definitely 100%. Exactly what you're saying is the reason why I think it's important to have that. And yeah, I think we have to really be authentic. We have to tell the truth, and sometimes the truth is ugly. Sometimes the truth is hard. Sometimes you know. What I'm trying to say
100%. It's not all happy endings. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, is it?
Yeah.
People don't like to focus on the negative things. It's like a lot of people now don't even watch the news because it's all negative. So you need to shine a light on it, but in a creative way, so people don't see it as negative.
Yeah. Shine the light, because I think within this piece as well, there's a lot of stereotypes in terms of the characters and whatever. But what I'm trying to do is like, what's behind that? Why is that? You know what I mean? Because everybody's a person, everybody's a human being. What's the story behind the person? What makes you who you are? Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes what we see is just the outside or the end result. And I always say, like, the journey is more important than the destination. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, sometimes we have to look at the journey. What's the journey of a person? Instead of like where they've reached. Because if you understand the journey, you probably understand the destination, good, bad or ugly, why that destination is the destination or where they've got to.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, with the portrayal, especially on stage, it can be told, but of course it depends who's telling it.
Yeah.
So of course, did you get a say on who you picked? As I know quite a few names that you've got around the cast, and I know that a lot of them are based around Derby. So did you kind of have your influence with that as well?
100%. As I said, I wanted to make sure that there was representation of people that I know are really serious about their art and do what they're doing. And also I wanted to introduce some of these young artists that I've been working with and mentoring for years into the world of theatre, because it's a transferable skill. If you can get on a stage and hold a mic and do a couple of songs to a crowd of how many, you can get on the stage and act. It's just direction. So I think it's important that, you know, that again, just giving avenues and saying, look, this is something that I believe that you can do. So a lot of people that are in this, I have had direct conversation with, like, I'm doing something and I would like you to be involved. It's no forcing. You're still gonna have to come and do an audition. You're still gonna have to do all of these things, but I'd like you to come and do that. And if you make it through, then you get in. So people had to still prove what they could do, but it's like, it's important because, again, we don't want nothing to be tokenistic, you know what I mean? It's like saying a community ensemble, a community cast can mean just like, we're just going to get some random people in and just make it, and I don't really believe in that. I think, like, you can, that's not their forte, and you got professional actors in this as well. But the mixing of the two, how do we learn? I think the best way to learn is to be around professionality or professional people, start doing what you're doing, and you go, okay, so that's the best way to learn. So these people, the community cast have learned so much in the last couple of weeks by just being around this, the setting, the production, all of these things. So I think all of that is super important for me, because it's a learning skill, and again, it's progression, and as you know, knowledge is power. So anything you're learning, and they're all transferable things, being on time, all these things are all transferable skills that go into life, full stop. You know what I mean? Even if you never want to do a theatre acting again, like if you get called to do a show, or you get called to do a meeting in London and you're not on time, or you're not prepared, or whatever, you can lose that moment. These are things that happen. So yeah, I think everything works, and I think it's all part and parcel.
Nice. I think that, of course, how you've explained this show should hopefully get people in the door and have sellouts. It's, of course, it's literally only on 3 days. So what's kind of the hope for Four Walls past the 9th of September? What's kind of the hope with it?
To be honest with you, I'm a big person. I'm a big believer of things will happen as they need to. Obviously, 3 days is a short period of time. Yes. I'd love for us. This is a piece where I think that could go into various other communities and we can do it. We can go to Nottingham, we can go to Birmingham, we can go to London, Leeds, Manchester, because it's a universal story about these inner cities or things that happen within these areas. So it's not just, even though this particular play is influenced and based around Derby, it could be anywhere. It could be anywhere. So I think I'd love for it to tour. That would be great. And to keep but for me and my own personal progression, it's about writing. It's about this journey is we're 3.5 years in.
Yeah. Does
that make sense? But to get to this point, with the fact that we started last year, and unfortunately, rest in peace to Marcel, who passed away, and just things that's happened along this journey to get to this point. So it's been very humbling at the same time for myself, because it's not my world as well. So I've had to learn a lot myself, which is always good, because at certain points of your life, you think you know everything and you just know what it is. And it's like, and so there's been excitement, there's been anxiety, there's been all of these things, because it's all new. And I love that as well, because when you learn new things, it takes you out of your comfort zone. And that's the only way you can grow, if you're taking out your comfort zone.
100%. It's like I call it a soft reset. So like everything you know and you're strong at and feel confident in, a soft reset is like going in a different path and just learning something else.
Yeah.
So that's what you need to do, and that's the only way you're going to be kind of master of all, because you're going to keep pushing yourself to your limits, and then of course for your company it's going to give more knowledge and wealth to them, because of course you've gained new experiences, you've pushed yourself.
I think eventually as well, I mean, just to add to that, I would love to have my own company, like get to the point where some of these young people that are in this as a community cast will become a company, and we're making pieces every year. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and from various people, because there's so many people I know that's got stories to tell.
That's it. And I think a lot of people struggle, especially in Derby as a community, struggle to get their story out in one way or another. It is very much like, it's unfortunate that there's not kind of more kind of localised community-based things. Of course, there is, I mean, Derby Theatre puts on its shows, and it does put stuff out, and it does take risks with Four Walls. Yeah. But of course, being able to have them kind of, as you said, them one-man kind of shows what you did originally, and people being able to get the story out will hopefully bring, as well as Four Walls, bring a different demographic into the theatre, which will in turn hopefully expand Derby and bring Derby together more. That's the hope.
That's the key. The thing for me, the key is we are all one. We're all humans.
Yeah.
So the basic essentials and needs and wants are all the same.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Regardless of economics, social background, culture. And I think that's what this play is about. It's like just trying to say to you, like, you know, this isn't just about a black person. This is not just about a white person. It's not just about an Eastern European person. It's not just about... This is about the world we live in. And it is about, you know, and don't get twisted, all these things do connect. So it's like, you know, why do we have crime? That's the, you know, why are we placed in certain places and areas? What makes us change or know what we know, but then still do different? All these little things, bro. Like, and so I think all them things are tackled or touched upon.
I mean, literally them couple of sentences there were like so thought-provoking, and then I'm trying to think of the answers in my head. Do you know what I mean? And that's how I wanna come out of a show. Do you know what? Like you just saying that, and I think it's also your flow. Like it's just like the way you flow it off. I was like,
I didn't plan it, but that's it.
But no, I think if how you're speaking about Four Walls and how you're speaking in general, if that's anything to go off, that should be a sign to come and watch it.
100%. I encourage and implore you to come. This is going to be something different.
Yeah.
It will definitely feel different from traditional theatre, but at the same time, it's theatre. It's a story. There's love in it. There's community. And then you got all of these other elements and ways to tell the story. So you got song, you got music. It's not musical, by the way, but it has music. It has. So I just it's thought provoking, and I feel like, you know, it will be enjoyed by all. It's not, when people ask who's this for, it's for everybody. It's for everybody. That's the key thing, I'd say, and that's how I've tried to write it. It wasn't specifically for this demographic, this group. It's for everybody. Do you know what I mean?
Which leaves it open to everybody to come and attend.
And all ages as well. That's one other thing as well. Like, you know, when people say, oh, it's got a bit of rap in it, I'm just a bit younger, but it's not like that. Like, you know what I mean? So I really please and encourage everybody to buy tickets. It starts on the 7th of September and till the 9th of September. Yes. And then there's 2 shows on the Saturday, which is the 9th. So there's one show at 2 and one show at 7. But grab your tickets and, you know what I mean, and come and see it. I believe you will leave with something.
There we go. And hopefully, of course, you've got a press night, so hopefully the reviews from that will hopefully spur people to come and kind of create more kind of buzz around it. It's of course it's only on for a short time, so people kind of need to rush and get a seat if they haven't already.
Please do, because tickets are flying.
Kind of reverting back to yourself, Rukus, now. Yeah. Kind of, we've been thought-provoking with kind of your show, but let's kind of look at how you work and how you would change things. So what is one piece of advice that you'd give to your younger self, looking back on your journey now, and you could go back and tell younger Rukus?
I was going to keep it very simple with that. I'm just going to say, believe in your source. That's what I'm going to say.
Nice.
Believe in your source and take that as you want. Because you know what I mean? And I will actually, no, I won't say that take it as you want. Believe in your source, because I feel like there's many times we have self-doubt about what we're doing. There's moments even within this process that I felt like a fish out of water, or I felt imposter syndrome. And that's something that we have. That's what I'm saying about insecurities, and I think it's a real thing that we deal with, specifically as an artist or as somebody that's a creative. So I think believe in yourself. So believe in your source. When I say believe in your source, as a cook makes his sauce and it's like, yo, taste this. You know what I mean? Oh, you know what I mean? And they believe in their sauce because they've made it and they've perfected it. So I would say that to my younger self, because there's things that I would have probably even pushed myself further to do if I believed in my source. I believed in my source from early. So I think that's the main thing as a young person. I'd say back to myself, just believe in your source, believe in yourself, and do what you have to do.
Nice. I think that's a nice way to round it up for, of course, looking back on yourself and evaluating yourself, but as well as for younger people that are in there. So just believing in what you're doing, and hopefully in time it will come. So that's nice. is there anything that you'd do differently if you could go back to maybe 10 years old and kind of think, oh, I could do one thing differently, it may change the path completely?
Yeah, I think to go into that, I mean, and just quickly before we go into that, I think there's another one thing I'd like to say for believing yourself is, again, is like give everything and expect nothing.
Okay.
And that's another thing I'd like to say. Give everything and expect nothing.
Yeah. That's good.
So let me move on to something but without explaining that. But I think there's always things in hindsight that you feel that you could have done better or different. But I'm also a big believer that at the end of the day, everything happens for a reason.
100%.
So, and whether that's for a lesson or a blessing. So just to tie it up is like, for me to say, would I do anything different? Maybe there's loads of things I probably would do different or to attack it from a different thing, but that's with hindsight.
Yeah.
I'm not blessed with hindsight. So my thing is, I don't even try and worry about anything I've done in the past because it can't be changed. No. It cannot be changed. So even if I spend an hour a day thinking about what I could change or what could be different, it changes nothing now. So what I have to do is focus on what moving forward and what I can change or what I can influence moving forward. And anything else before that is just a lesson or it's a blessing.
No, I like that. That's rounded up nicely. I think you put it brilliantly, and I think for anyone else that's worrying about something they've done or wanting to change their path or anything, that's kind of summed up nicely because it just shows that everything is a lesson. Yeah. So, no, that's nice. I've got one kind of question to kind of finish up on, and that is, what is Rukus's gem of Derby? So you've got one person, they may have not been to Derby before, and they're coming in, and you can only take them to one place. Where are you taking them to kind of showcase Derby as your gem?
I think I'm taking them to Normanton Road, bro.
Nice.
And the reason why I'm saying that is because it's a melting pot of different cultures all coexisting together.
Yeah.
And when you see, and that's the beauty of Derby in a sense, the coexisting of all these different melting pots of different cultures all in one place. So you can go down there, you'll see a shop, an African shop, Jamaican shop, you know what I'm trying to say, to Eastern Europe, it's all in one place. If I want to get some Indian or I want to get Caribbean food or I want to get, it's all there. I want to get Lebanese, So it's like, to me, if I'm going to show what I believe community and what Derby's about, I'd take them down Normanton Road because that's just that road and walk down it and walk back up, you know. Different languages you hear, different things you see, different people, the way they dress, everything, do you know what I mean? So for me, it would be there.
No, I like that, and I think it is kind of, with it being so close to town, the kind of retail aspect difference between the two is mad. Like Normanton Road is quite old school. It's got like a lot of restaurants, food places,
outdoor like foods outside, and you can pick your own veg.
Exactly, that's just like old school. Whereas you would not get that if you walk 5 minutes down the road into town. You're not getting that. So it's nice to still have some kind of old school in with the new school, as well as literally every shop, as you said, is different. It's like literally being able to shop the world down one road. Exactly. So no, it's wicked. Exactly. Just to finish off, where can people find you, as well as of course promote Four Walls again?
So Four Walls, just type in Derby Theatre and type in the number 4 Walls, just to check out what it's about, see the trailer, so you can get a little bit more of understanding of what's in it and whatever. But to find me, I'm on Twitter, Rukadiah, which is RUKADIAH. RUKADIAH. And for my baby people, I'm on Insta, which is Baby People UK. So I'm on that's on Instagram and also Twitter. So they're the 2 main places that you can find me. I don't try and be all over. I'm a bit older now, so you know what I mean. You catch me like more concentrated. I'm more or less on Twitter, more like Baby People, which is the business, is on Insta. So they're the 2 things. But remember 4 Walls, 7th of September until the 9th. It's only here for 3 days, so definitely come through and be a part of something. And yes, my first main stage play, so you know what I mean. Would love you to join me and join us in telling this story.
Brilliant. No, thank you for coming on and speaking about yourself and Four Walls, and hopefully with what you've said will entice people to come and watch it. So thank you.
I want to say thank you to you as well. It was really great talking to you. And again, yeah, we need to talk again on a different level. And we need to probably
100%,
do something again, like differently from this. But respect to you and fully thank you for your time, Adam. I really appreciate it.
The Bless is open every day from 12 p.m, serving a wide range of beers, ciders, real ales and spirits. Their kitchen also provides handmade pizzas, loaded nachos, chicken strips and ice cream from 5:50 to 10:30 Monday to Thursday and 12 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. Friday, Saturday and Sunday. The pub quiz is very popular with anyone that enjoys a good beer and a bit of a laugh with their mates. Taking place every Wednesday at 9 p.m, there's loads of prizes to be won, including £50 drinks vouchers for the winners and a bottle of wine for the best team name. Everyone's a winner. They also have a spacious function room available to hire that can hold up to 100 people. Wow, that's a lot. Perfect for birthday parties, work events, weddings and wakes. The Bless really comes to life at the weekends with their branded nights of Stone Love and Fully Loaded, where the DJs play alternative, indie and rock music spanning the generations until the early hours of 2 a.m. There really is something for everyone in what is arguably Derby's best pub.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Peaking to Success podcast. If you enjoyed, please make sure you follow us on Spotify as well as Instagram, where you can see all the updates of who is coming up, as well as who has already been on the podcast, as well as Twitter, where there is information and interaction from me on there as well. Thank you.